crafters, it's Leo with Dreaming Tree, and today we're cooking up something a little magical. It's called our Brew-Ha-Ha door hanger. This playful little cauldron doubles as a gift box. It hangs right on your doorknob, perfect for filling with candy or small treats to surprise your kids, grandkids, or neighbors on Halloween morning. With its bubbling brew, witchy boots, and a cheerful trick-or-treat message, it's a fun way to spread a little spooky joy throughout your home. So grab your papers, fire up your cutting machines, and let's make some Halloween magic together.
All right, let's take a look and see what we have here. Now I've sort of laid things out just to, well, remember what I was doing. And we're gonna begin, I'm gonna move this out of the way. Got a few layers to build here. Okay, this black piece, we're gonna leave this for last. That's gonna cover things up once everything's sort of put together. We're gonna start off with these three pieces. Okay, they all look very similar. They just kind of get a little skinnier as you go. And we're gonna begin with this layer here. And I guess to help identify it, it's not the black layer, and it is the thicker of the, well, in this case, 4 remaining that look similar, okay? And we're gonna take the white layer and put that on next, like so. Okay, so go ahead and flip this around. And there is a lot of real estate to cover here as far as getting this glued into place, so do your best. Worst case scenario, if for some reason we're not able to get all of our glue applied, we can always use our little painting method to kind of clean up any loose ends, but I think we'll be all right. Okay, and the main focus here is just to make sure that you get things aligned properly. I'm going to start with the shoes up here and use those as sort of a reference for alignment. Then kind of head towards the center here. This is a little part that's going to go over the door hanger. And of course, I'm gluing cardstock to glitter, which occasionally, most of the time, requires a little extra patience just because glitter doesn't seem to grab like cardstock does. So we'll take some time here and just make sure that we're not rushing things. Now this white layer, its purpose is twofold. 1, to thicken this up, and 2, to give us the little white details on some of the little bubbles that are coming out of the cauldron. Okay, I think it's pretty good at this point. So next, we're going to take this layer. You can see if we superimpose these, we just have this little bit sticking out here. Okay, and our witch is going to be assembled on this piece here. So let's flip this one around. We'll do the same thing. This time it should be a little smoother, since we're going cardstock on cardstock. We released something similar in nature for Christmas. I believe it was last year or the year before. It was a nutcracker. And this time, we're taking the concept and making it a little witch who, well, must have had a sweet tooth and got lost in the cauldron. Understandable. There's probably some super tasty goodies in there. I don't blame her. All right, so now that we have these 3 layers in place, for the most part, with the exception of this little layer here, we're going to place our little purple bubbles in place here, this guy here. Now if it helps, what you can do is just make sure that they match up with the little cutouts as far as the size goes. Okay, and there's one big one here that we're going to assemble separately. Should have a total of 1, 2, 3 little bubbles that go on this layer. So pop a tiny little bit of glue on each of these and just line that up. Probably not one that I would mass produce, as it is a little more involved, but if you got a kiddo or two that you want to make this for, it's pretty quick. Okay, now this large one here, this one has its own white background, so just be sure to pop that on this little circle here. There we go. And you can kind of see that there is a special place for this one here. And I'm going to go a little bit heavier on the glue here since this one is going onto glitter. And we'll pop that one right about there. Perfect. And there we go. Okay, now you'll see here there's a little marker there, and that's for this little swoosh. And I did take my time and inked as much as I could. It always looks nice. And that should be flush along this edge here. There we go. And there's one more little swoosh up there. I have to find it. There it is. Super cool. Very unique little piece. And as I woke up to head out to the studio today, I could tell that those nice summer days are pretty much officially over. There's a definite chill in the air today. Okay, so we've got that. Actually, we have one more little swoosh right here. Let's get that one glued down before we start adding layers on top of it, which might make it a little harder to get to. There we go. Oops. That's the one. Cool. All right, wonderful. All right, so next we can start building this layer. Okay, and this is where our witch is going to go ultimately. So we need to take this and get this glued into place. And for the most part, this is a paper piecing project until we get to the dimensional 3D part of it, which is relatively simple. It is a round structure, which is slightly more challenging, but not bad at all. I'll walk you through it step by step. I'm going to start with the feet once again, then take a look at that center. Just make sure everything is lined up nicely. You'll notice that there's a little slit in one of the legs, and that's just to help you get it over the doorknob. Now initially, when we conceptualized this, I was thinking about just making the legs kind of coming together, and that being the little holder, but I think we went away from that only because we were worried that it wouldn't be strong enough. Okay, we've got another little swoosh here, this purple one. Need to get that in place before we build the witch. And you'll see there's some markers here to help you with the positioning. That's going to be flush around that inside, and then just line that up. There's a little like TP or upside down V shaped marker right at this tip. Make sure you get that aligned nicely. Okay, and then we have this little purple piece. It's going to go right here. Need to get that in place as well before we do anything else. Okay. There Beautiful. Okay, so you can see what we have left here as far as the witch. It's pretty much just her legs now. Okay, and that is what we need to assemble next. So this piece is going to go on first, and this is going to make up her little stockings. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Looks good so far. Should be a pretty quick project though. Okay, let's get this in place. Just pop that right on top of that previous purple layer and match it up with the rest of the legs everywhere. Pardon my head here for 1 second. There we go. And then the actual boots, we can either glue those down flat or we can use some foam squares to add a little dimension to them. Either one's fine, whatever you prefer. There we go. Grab the other one. This paper was perfect for her stockings, obviously. And one thing that, depending on if you have like a striped pattern like this that you want to use for her stockings, but the print is either vertical or horizontal, you can always take this file in your cutting software and rotate it so that it does cut out kind of on a diagonal. All right, so then we just have her shoes. We got 2 layers for the shoes, a black and then a kind of a yellow or whatnot. Okay, let's get those glued to each other, and then we can get those in place. As I mentioned, I might use a little foam square just to add a little more dimension to the boots. There we go. And that's going to go right there. I think I'm just going to glue that down flat. I don't know that we need more depth on this. This thing's already pretty. It's got a lot of stuff going on here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, and the other one. Just go easy with the glue for the most part. You don't need a lot. And there's that. There we go, cool. All right, so now one other little element to this is this little situation that we have here. What happened here? So I just noticed that this section here kind of pulled apart. It's a quick fix. Just grab yourself a scrap piece of paper and just kind of tuck it in there. And that's just because it is going right on the glitter, and of course the glitter can be a pain sometimes. And you just need to give it a little extra love. Okay, so now obviously this layer with the little cutouts is going to go on top of this solid layer. And I get that glued into place. Might use some foam squares on this one actually. I think it makes more sense. Because I really want to build up the dimension in the cauldron so it looks like there's a lot going on. There we go. Press that into place. And let's grab some foam squares. Well, we have one more little bubble that we need to glue down. Okay, that's going to go on the white backing, like so. And then that's going to go right up here. Perfect. All right, cool. So we can flip this over, grab a few foam squares. I always like to start from the outside, top and bottom, and then kind of fill in the gaps. I usually maybe don't go this heavy, but I want this to be nice and sturdy. Okay, peel off the backing. And there's no harm in getting this in place right now. It's not going to obstruct anything during the main assembly, so I'm not concerned about it. Just line that up. There we go. Perfect. There's that little slit. Okay, so we're going to start off with your either black or patterned paper for the face of our cauldron, and that's going to get glued onto the green layer. In my case, again, we're trying to be festive and, you know, add a lot of interest to this. So we're utilizing some glitters here, which again can be a temporary annoyance as far as just kind of keeping things moving, because it is a little finicky to work with. But oh, actually, this is going on white. This next layer is going to go on the green. So let's get this in place first and just match that up as closely and accurately as you can. Here we go. Again, this white piece is sort of twofold. It's going to add some thickness while also adding these little details there. So that worked out nicely. And now we're going to take this whole thing and glue it to our glitter. This is where we may want to take a few extra moments just to let things gel. It's like making a pot of chili and just letting it sit so that everyone becomes friends and all the flavors incorporate. Make a lot of chili in the fall, which is why it's constantly on my mind. Always thinking of ways to improve it. Okay, so this is going to go on like this. And that's really nice for that sentiment in there. Okay, there we go. Press that down. And this is where we might want to just give it a minute. Then we have these little pieces here for the feet of our cauldron. And if we can multitask, maybe we can get these in place as well. This is going on glitter, just like the other piece, so we may need to just give it a few extra moments. This one for sure I can feel does not want to hold, but it will. Okay. And the rest of this is pretty straightforward, as you will see here in just a moment. Let's get the other foot in place. Now, I suppose if you are not happy with, you know, having to wait the extra time to get things on glitter, you could use hot glue, although I don't recommend it because it's kind of thick and sometimes it's just messy. Okay, so we have this, and now we need to glue this onto this black piece. Okay, and this is going to get slapped on the front once we have the actual structure assembled. And we're pretty much on the home stretch here. Actually thought this was going to take longer than it is, which is nice. It's always a good surprise when I sort of overestimate how long something's going to take. There we go. Beautiful. Okay. Let's let that sit for a second. In the meantime, we can just take these two layers and just get them glued together like this. Okay, the one with the little cutouts for the holes at the top is going to go on top. And the full solid piece is going to go underneath. We'll let these sort of just gel while we put together the main structure. Next thing we're going to do here is grab this piece And occasionally I would say that we need to train this, but I don't think we need to. What we're gonna do, you notice that the tabs on the end are, well, they're not really triangles, but they're designed this way so that they're, once in the correct position, you have a nice straight line here, because we're gonna use that to match it up with these little lines here, these little markers. So essentially, this first one, we're gonna anchor this, and we want it to just line up with that little line there. Okay, and then the rest of this is gonna kind of hug this piece all the way around. And you know what, actually it might help to train it a little bit. It is sort of fighting me. So what I want you to do is, well, first off, we need to kind of flatten these teeth out a little bit so we don't rip them. And then take your dowel, you need to angle these out so that we don't accidentally grab one as we're training it. Just get them out of the way. Take your dowel and just kind of starting in the middle, place this piece between your finger and the dowel, lift it up about 45 degrees, and just run the dowel through. And you can see it kind of gives it a little bit of a curve. Do the same thing on the other side. And now it's curved slightly. We'll just kind of loosen up the fibers in there, release some of that tension. And okay, so this is gonna be the back, like this. So let's go ahead and start anchoring this. I'm gonna just put glue on just this tab here, this funky looking one, bring it in, and push this piece that I'm holding in my hand up against the structure as far as it'll go, and just try to get that lined up right up against that line. So this should essentially just kind of go straight across. Okay, hold that for just a moment. Make sure it is nice and solid. And then you can flare these little teeth out, and we're just gonna do a few at a time. So just put a little dot of glue on, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 of these. You can see I've got the glue on the teeth. And what I'm gonna do is tuck those in, lay this down, and I'm gonna push this up against the structure while I push down to help it grab. And we're gonna form a nice round structure for our little holder here. Oops. Okay, be more patient. Let that glue really settle. Don't release it so soon. There you go. So you can see what we're doing here. So then we're gonna flare out a few more and just work our way all the way around. Tuck those back in and under. Push the tabs underneath and just kind of use your hand to push this up against the structure as far as it'll go as you're pushing down to help these two make contact. And it's pretty straightforward. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, let's flare out some more of these. And dot, 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 dot. Tuck those tabs in slightly. Pop them under. And you want to push this in as far as it'll go. There we go. Okay. And let's see where this terminates. Pretty perfect. Okay, let's flare these next set of tabs out. And that straight one you can leave for last. Doesn't really matter. All right, tuck those back under. And press down. There we go. Just be patient. There we go. Okay, and that just leaves our straight one here, and let's see where it ends up. Pretty much spot on. If it's off a tiny little bit, it's not the end of the world. Okay, and this one we can kind of just do manually. Yeah, that's exactly where it needs to be. Perfect. Just hold that in place, and you may end up with a few stray tabs that just were defiant and rebellious, and you may need to just manually go in and clean those up, but that's fine. It's the nature of the beast. Okay, beautiful. All right, so we got that. Now we're going to take this other L piece, and we're going to do the same thing here. Now this one, on this side, this is going to be flush with the top of this. So let's go ahead and anchor this top tab, since it's kind of our guide. And we could probably do that on both sides, just so it stays in place. Just line that up flush and straight. Like so. And just hold that in place for a moment. And then we can go over to the other side, do the same thing, and you can see the rest of it is beautifully, beautifully perfect as far as the engineering goes. Let's get this side lined up. Make sure you push this in as far as it'll go. You want that to be nice and tight. There we go. Hold that in place. Cool. All right. And now, just like we did before, we can go ahead and apply glue to these individual little teeth. Do as many as you feel comfortable with. Tuck those back in and push. Now you can't really see what I'm doing here because it's being obstructed by this other layer, which is fine. Just take your time. But the idea here is to get these teeth in place. That one did not stick. I'll just do that one manually real quick. There we go. Okay, and if you want, you can kind of go back and forth, side to side. Technically, it's kind of a better idea to stagger it and work from side to side, but it shouldn't really matter either way. All right, so tuck those under and push up against that structure. Hold that in place. Okay, almost there. And I think we can probably just get the rest of these teeth glued into place, and our structure is complete. We just have to put a few finishing touches on this, and this thing's ready to go. All right, tuck those in, lay that down, push down from the inside. I don't even have to push this in. It's already where it needs to be, which is nice. Okay, there we go. And voila. Okay, so one other thing we can do at this point, well, let's go ahead and close up back. So this little piece here, and I just noticed that, again, having some glitter problems here. This piece is not cooperating at all. I need to put a little more glue on that. Just let that kind of simmer. I got one stray one here. Okay. One other thing too, to keep everything cohesive, we have this little strip, and I do want you to do the same thing we did with the structure, where you just kind of take your dowel and run it through to give it a little bit of a curve, because this, we're going to glue this around the side here. Okay. Not quite ready for that yet. Okay, so this is going to go on the back like so, just to close this off, clean it up, hide the tabs, and just make everything nice and structurally sound. But we can go ahead and close this up. Let's go ahead and apply our glue. And if I have to go through, I might need to paint this a little bit with my little scraps, just to make sure everything is nice and seamless. There we go. It's so quiet this morning. I don't usually get up this early. Well, I guess I do to craft, but boy, 5, 6 a.m. It is awfully quiet. All right, so do your best to get that nice and aligned all the way around. If you want, you can put that down flat, push from the inside to help the rest of the interior part of this get a good hold. Check your seams here. That looks great. And yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Almost looks like it's 3D printed, which I am always aiming for. All right, and now suddenly the glitter's doing better. Okay, who would have thought? All right. You can see here that I have a few little unsightly gaps. If you encounter the same thing, grab some scrap paper, throw a little bit of glue right on the edge, and just kind of tuck it in between the two layers that are not playing nice, and just press and hold and allow that to really make a good solid connection. Look at that. That's so cool. All right, let's go ahead and put our cauldron in place now. I'm going to go ahead and apply glue. Actually, yeah, let's put glue on this part here, because the cauldron does stick off a little bit, and there's going to be some areas where you might not be sure where not to put glue. So I'd rather not make a mess and just focus on getting it on the face here. Okay, so the bottom of this needs to be flush with the bottom and the sides. The top's going to stick up a little bit, and the important thing here is just to make sure that it's right side, like just straight and not slanted either way. Okay, look at the feet. The feet should touch if you kind of have it sort of standing up. Okay, but that's essentially what it should look like. Just keep pushing down. Make sure that all of this is getting a good hold throughout. And then we'll finish it up by putting this little strip along the side. And let's finish this up. What I want to do here first is we're going to throw a little bit of glue right along the very top edge of this. Spread that glue out all the way, all the way, all the way to the very, very tip. And we're going to line this up like so. Okay, get that in place. And just press and hold that for just a moment. We want that to be nice and anchored for us. And then what we'll do is flare this out and apply glue to the rest of it. We might need to go in and paint a little bit of this later, especially right here at the other end. You want to make sure that you get the glue out to the very edge, like so. And we're just going to take this and wrap this all the way around, like so. Make sure it's nice and tight or taut, and it should end right at the other edge perfectly, and it does. Okay, and that feels very flush back there. Perfect. Okay, everything seems to be holding up nicely. So now all that's left to do is take this piece here, and I'm just going to use a series of foam squares. Probably do like 3 and 2, something like that. And we got to kind of bend this in and just glue it to the face like this. So take this and just kind of bend it a little bit to get it in there, and just bring that in like so, and push that up against the face. Last little thing that I noticed here is just right along right there, just because of the angle, that little part needs a little extra love to be nice and flush. That other side looks good, but that's it. There she is. I love this project. Very cool. And yep, that's going to do it. Good size compartment to fill with some goodies. Not too big to where, you know, your kid's going to have an upset stomach later on that day. But I guess, you know what, if it's Halloween, they're probably going to have an upset stomach anyway. But anyway, either way, lovely project. It turned out just as we imagined it, actually. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please take a moment, visit us on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. And for those of you that have already joined us on Creative Fabrica, thank you so much. I would love to invite you over there to grab a all-access membership where you'll have access to everything we've ever made in the past, present, and for all the stuff that we'll end up making in the future. It's all yours for one yearly fee, $47. Can't beat that. So that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Happy Halloween, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.